Hi, Steve Willems here, Wealth Advisor with Assante Financial Management. Going to be sitting down with Cheryl Norton, Regional Wealth Planner with Assante Private Client, to walk through a number of the tax and government responses relating to the COVID-19 pandemic. Hope you stay tuned for the ride. So Cheryl, thanks for joining us here today. The government's been working hard on these response measures for the current pandemic. Bill C-13, the COVID Emergency Response Act, received royal assent a couple of days ago, and there's been what seems to be just constant changes and updates even since then. I guess one thing is constant in this current environment is change. So what we wanted to do here today is just kind of look at a couple of those bulletins and notices that have come out and get your thoughts on them, and things that together we're working to provide some planning initiatives to clients. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So now that April's upon us, a lot of our clients are thinking about their tax filings. What should individuals be thinking about in terms of their tax returns right now?
Well, I think, Steve, there's obviously been lots of media attention around the fact that the filing deadline has been extended for individuals. So the filing deadline for individuals has been extended from April 30th to June 1st. The filing deadline for self-employed individuals has always been June 15th. So that's remaining the same at June 15th. Payment deadlines for tax returns for individuals have been extended all the way until September 1st of 2020. But I really don't think that it's a good time to be complacent and not file your tax returns, especially if you're charitable and you know you've made charitable contributions in 2019, or you've done your RRSP contributions and you know you're getting that tax refund. It's a good time to file immediately as soon as you possibly can. And in this time too, when you're budgeting for your family and you're not sure what your taxes owing will be, good to just file, get the calculation done so you know how much you will owe, and delay the payment until September. The government won't be charging any interest or penalties on balances unpaid up until just September 1st. So still file. Get your tax returns in. A lot of the benefits that they will be offering will also be based on those tax return filings.
Right.
So it's a good idea to get them in.
That's helpful. Thanks so much for that, Cheryl. So one thing that there seems to be a lot of confusion about is this CERB, or the Canada Emergency Response Benefit. That was a newer release. Initially, there was an initial response through the EI program, and now this CERB. Can you help us clarify this $2,000 benefit amount? Who might qualify for it, and who should apply?
Yeah, definitely. I can try. There's still a lot of unknowns for sure out there, but I think it's going to become clear in the next week or 2 weeks anyways, because the applications are coming out for this CERB benefit starting Monday, April 6th. They're asking that people apply in batches, so it's based on your birth date. They would like the first 3 months of the year to apply on April 6th. Next 3 months, if your birthday's in the next 3 months, you'll apply on April 7th, and so on 8th and 9th. But this benefit is really in place, so it is a $2,000 a month taxable benefit for people who have lost their employment or self-employment income. So really important to remember that even if you do not qualify for EI, this benefit is still available to you. So if you are a self-employed individual that does not pay into the EI program, you can still qualify for this CERB benefit, the $2,000 a month. My understanding is that it will be combined with an EI application. So you'll be directed through the application process, whether you're going the EI or the CERB route. And to qualify for it, so the qualification is you have to be residing in Canada, obviously, and at least 15 years of age. You must have stopped working due to COVID-19 situations, and you had to have at least $5,000 of employment income in 2019 or for the 12-month period prior to when you make the application. So as long as you've earned $5,000, even if that's self-employment income again, then you're able to apply for this CERB benefit. You'll be completing the application every 4 weeks. It's available for up to a 4-month period. And in that 4-week period that you're applying for, you need to reasonably believe that you'll be out of work for a consecutive 14 days during that 4-week period to be able to apply for the benefit. And again, the applications are coming out April 6th, and you'll apply for them based on your birth date. They don't want to overload the system.
So one thing as well that people who might be eligible for this program might want to do today is, if they don't already have a CRA My account, is to, number one, create that account, and then make sure, number two, the direct deposit information on that account is up to date. So that way, when the application goes through and eventually approved within hopefully that 10-day period, then the CRA already has a spot to which to send that the $2,000 amount.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely want to have good point. You definitely want to have direct deposit and My account set up. If you don't have a My account yet, it does take quite a while for CRA to send you 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, to mail you that access code. So get in there as soon as possible and set up My account if you don't have it.
And the other thing as well, for kids of some of our clients or younger students who might have been going to school right now and perhaps put out of work, maybe working nominal hours as they were doing their studies, even still, if they were put out of work as a result of this virus, even though their earnings, so long as their earnings passed that $5,000 threshold over the last 12 months, them too could apply for this benefit. So something to think as well.
Absolutely, yeah. As long as you're over the age of 15 and have earned that $5,000.
Perfect. So what about for clients who have children now at home, families that need to be fed? What types of planning avenues or policy responses have been made for those people?
So starting in May, and you don't have to apply for this, it will just be automatically put on your May payment. If you have children and you're receiving the Canada Child Benefit, your May payment for each child will be increased by $300. So you'll see that automatically deposit, hopefully, if you have direct deposit set up, automatically deposited into your account. And there's some flexibility as well to work with your financial institution. If you're really having a hard time as a family to put food on the table or just to make ends meet, there's some flexibility around mortgage deferrals. So just keeping in mind that you can call your bank, you can work with your bank to set up a mortgage deferral, but the interest on that mortgage payment will still accrue. So if you can make your mortgage payments, it's a good idea to just make the mortgage payments to maybe not put you in a bad situation in the future. But there is an ability to defer your mortgage.
That's great. Thanks. And I guess two other thoughts for those younger families. Number one, if they don't own property, there's the BC rental subsidy provided through BC Housing, which is expected here in April then as well. That's going to be needs-based, so a benefit of up to $500 that would be paid directly to the landlord. And so that's going to be coming online soon. I know some of our clients are landlords themselves, own rental properties, and so perhaps their tenants have raised this flag even to them as property owners. And so that BC Housing subsidy is going to be important. And as well, for those with property, I guess with the significant drop in interest rates, to look at potentially refinancing the debt on that property to bring the rate down. I just checked my own mortgage yesterday, and I was shocked. The interest rate I'm paying on my mortgage is 1.5% right now. It's unbelievable. But for us, that represented a $500 a month savings, and that's meaningful. So.
Yeah, definitely. If you're coming for refinancing, see where you're at in the term for sure, because if you have to pay a penalty to get out, but if you're close to the end of a term of a mortgage, it's a good time to refinance.
So we have a lot of clients as well who are retired, perhaps taking RIF withdrawals. We saw that there was a note as well about some changes to requirements for that RIF withdrawal amount. Could you just provide some color on that?
Yeah, so RIF RIF withdrawals for 2020 have been decreased by 25%. So essentially you only need to take out 75% of your minimum withdrawal now for 2020. Unfortunately, if you're a client that receives their entire RIF minimum near the beginning of the year, if you've already taken your full RIF minimum, there's no ability currently to be able to redeposit that 25% reduction. But if you have not yet taken your minimum RIF payments, you can reduce that payment by 25%. That's a good measure to put in place. You're more the investment expert than I am, Steve, but I think the idea around that is that you don't want to be withdrawing necessarily when markets are in a down position. So that's a good measure, I think.
That's great, thank you. And so we'll work with our clients as needed to review their cash flow as well as the investment strategy of where they're pulling that that income stream from to make sure that they're taken care of. Now, some of our clients are also business owners. There's been kind of two prongs to the policy response, right? So one is to families and to individuals, and the other is to business, who are significantly impacted by this pandemic. So can you just summarize for us? There seems to be a lot of material here, and especially changing with a high degree of frequency. So can you just kind of package that together for us? Just if I'm a business owner, what are the maybe 3 or 4 things that I need to keep my eye on?
Yeah, definitely. So I think you're right, it's two-pronged, right? There's a lot of measures on the individual side, and then there's measures on the business side. And I would say the two biggest measures that are currently in place that have been released, on the individual side, it would be that CERB benefit. And on the business side, it is on March 27th, the government just released a new Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy. This is the 75% amount probably keep hearing about in the media. So it's a 75% wage subsidy available for businesses. The government released more details on April 1st about how you would qualify for this, but there is still a lot of unknowns. Currently, we know that the subsidy would be that 75% up to a maximum employees earning $58,700. So essentially that would give an employee, if you were earning $58,700 or more, it would give you $847 per week of your employment income. And that would be administered through your employer. That would be available for a 12-week period. That's currently what the government is saying. It's for a 12-week period. The employers that are eligible for it are any size, so it can be small or large across all business sectors, including nonprofits and charities, with the exception of the public sector. So public sector would not be available for this. There's definitely some questions around how you qualify as a business, because one of the things that they're saying is in order to qualify to get this 75% wage subsidy, the business needs to demonstrate that they have had a drop in revenue of 30% relative to the same month in 2019. So you have to show that your revenues in 2019 for March in 2020 have dropped more than 30%. And that would, because it's a 12-week period, that would be for March, April, and May. Whether the government wants you to actually show that on the application, probably not. They might just make you attest to the fact that your revenues have dropped by 30%. And then there could be subsequent audits coming out after all of these measures are taken away, or once we get out of this situation. There's a few additional things for businesses to think about as well. There was a 10% wage subsidy that was announced back near the beginning of the COVID-19 releases. That's still out there, but I think with this new 75% wage subsidy, probably that 10% won't be accessed as much, but it is still available and it's still out there. There's a Canada Emergency Business Account that's been set aside for business loans. So you can get a business loan up to $40,000 interest-free currently. And if you're able to repay that loan before December 31st of 2022, then 25% of the loan can be forgiven. So it's a $40,000 interest-free loan, of which $10,000 could be forgiven if you're able to repay by December 31st, 2022. And then, of course, the last thing I think I would note is corporate tax deadlines have also been extended. Typically, a corporation with a calendar year end, so a December year end, would be filing by June 30th, so that's not extended. But if you have any clients with corporations where they have an off calendar year end and their actual tax return might be due during this period, their filing deadline is extended until June 1st, very similar to individuals. And all payment deadlines for corporations have been extended exactly the same as individuals, again, until September 1st of 2020. So that's an important, all payments, including GST, any installments that might be due for corporations, as well as taxes.
That's great. So governments are really trying to come up with as many different solutions and pop up these umbrellas to these different these different interest groups in an effort to provide means for the economy to restart once we're coming through to the other side of this virus.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So, thanks so much for your time here today, Cheryl. I know we appreciate your input and kind of consolidating this all down for us. If at any time any of our clients or family and friends of Assante care to have their situation reviewed, we're happy to sit down with you and have Cheryl join into that conversation as well to look at how these matters or issues might affect you personally. So thanks again for your time, Cheryl. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, take care.